Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to G Bear's Off-Grid Ways, a homestead in the desert, January 9th, 2023. Yeah, 54 degrees out, but with the wind chill, 30 mile an hour winds out there, they just dropped to 29. The wind chill makes it feel like 34, so it's pretty chilly out there. I'm not going to go outside today though, because I've got an indoor video to show, and it's going to be all about propane wall heaters. And the reason I'm doing this is because I just had to go through maintenance on mine. This is mine right here. It is the Procom, and it's a pretty good sized unit, as you can see by the size of my hand on it. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 hands wide. That's about 18 inches, I'd say. Anyway, what was going on was the heater. I would light it, and I had to light it using a match because the electronic igniter wasn't working right. And I didn't want to get involved in it before, so I just said, well, I'll just light it with a match. So I got a long skewer with a alligator clip on the end, hold a stick match in it, and I have to reach down inside there while I'm pressing the pilot light and light the pilot. So I don't know if we can get in the right angle here. Let's see. Yeah, there's the pilot down there. All right. So I had to do maintenance because the pilot would all of a sudden just go out, and I'd light it. It would the heater would come on. It would heat the house or the cabin, and then all of a sudden in the middle of the night I was starting to shiver. I'm going, whoa, it's getting a little cold in here. I get up and the pilot is out, and the thermostat is still set on 2 like I normally have it. But it was just going out on me. So here's what I had to do for maintenance on this. So if you have a Procom or something similar, I'm pretty sure that the maintenance will all be the same. Okay, so number 1, you got to get this front cover off. On mine, there's 2 screws on this side and 2 screws on this side. Okay, that's it. 4 screws out, and then you can pop the cover right off. But on this side of the cover in the back there, that shroud wants to hang up on the burner section down there, because all of the tubes and piping are behind it, so you got a tight space there. So you got to kind of like finagle it out of there and it'll come out. All right. So what do you have to do for maintenance? Number 1, clean it. Lots of dust around here in the desert, as you know, and dust gets inside of these things. It'll coat the tops of the burners there and disrupt a clean flame. So you want to clean everything out clean the dust out, and you can do that with a fine bristled brush to get everything moved around. And then I use one of these electronics dusters, compressed air, and I go around and blow out everything all the way around. Next, down there, right in the middle of the blue flame, you see that orange thing, the little orange dot? That is the thermocoupler. And that flame has to keep that thermocoupler heated so that the flame will keep coming out. If it doesn't keep it properly heated, your pilot will go out. Also, right beside it, you can't really see it down there. I should have shot this video when I had the cover off. There's a oxygen sensor. So these things are built with a safety feature. If you get low oxygen in the carbon monoxide in the cabin, this thing will automatically shut off all flame so as not to kill you while you're in your sleep. So that's a feature that you definitely want to have in one of these if you're going to put one in your house. Now this one does say that it can be installed also in motorhomes. So here's my manual right here, and I'm going to get this to the next page over because that's where I want to show you stuff. All right. So here, this is what's down there right there, and you'll see this is the propane LP side. This will handle both propane and natural gas, but not both. It's got to be one or the other. So I got it on propane, and the lighter hits the thermocoupler and keeps that heated, so that tells the sensors that it's okay to keep on working. Okay, now these other two little things down here with the two black wires, those are the electronic igniters. Okay, so let's move to the next one here. So there's a little cap like this that comes with mine, and you plug it in underneath to the side that you're going to use. So, or the side you're not going to use, not being used. So natural gas, I have it in that one. I'm using the LP. So you see this thing right here, the flame? That's an important thing to pay attention to. If your unit is getting dirty, what you're going to notice is instead of a nice straight flame like this, all blue, like I showed you a little while ago, you'll have a curved flame and it'll have a yellow tip. Okay? Yellow in any gas, natural gas or LP, yellow flame is not good. Yellow flame means that you're putting off a lot of carbon monoxide. And here you can see yellow tipping. Okay, so you don't want to see that incorrect burner flame. You want a correct burner flame, which is all blue flame. And now that I've got this cleaned out, that's what I get. So that's the important thing. Now, the reason that my igniter here wasn't working was when I got this opened, I noticed that there's a little wafer nut that holds that in place, and it has to be held tightly against the metal casing because that's the ground. And this is a igniter that has a little magneto in it. When you press the button, it sends a spark down, but it won't send a spark unless it's properly grounded. Well, that nut had come completely loose and was hanging down around the wires on the bottom of the igniter. So that's why it wasn't working. So I put that back in and tightened it back up, and I just noticed that I didn't actually get it perfectly centered in the hole, but when I lit this thing off, bing, one push and it was done. So, not broken, don't fix it. Pretty can come last. You want function first. Function before beauty. Very important stuff. All right, so that's the complete maintenance on this thing. You clean it all out, clean all the dust that's inside of there, blow it out, and one last thing. You see the loop in my wire, in my service hose there. Now these things require that's a 1/2-inch service hose. You can't use a 3/8 service hose. You can't use a smaller service hose. It won't work. You got to have enough fuel volume to make this thing work properly. So you notice there's a loop in it. Okay. Now some people will pipe these things with a trap on the bottom. They'll come out with a T, go up into the unit, and then go down also with a cap on the bottom. And that's to collect moisture and condensation. And yes, you can get that, especially like out here in the winter. There's a lot of moisture in the air. So as it gets warm in here, and the cold gas is coming through that pipe because the gas is coming from outdoors, you can build up condensation in your pipe, and that trap down there keeps it from getting up into your burner and causing problems with corrosion and things like that. So that's what that little loop is in there. So you also want to disconnect your gas line. Make sure you shut off at the gas cock first. Let me get my wastebasket out. You got a gas cock there. You shut that off and take this end of it off, and then lay it down on the ground with a piece of paper towel or whatever, and turn your gas cock back on temporarily and blow out the excess moisture that's in the pipe, if there is any. You'll see it get on the paper towel and wet the paper towel. All right, then shut your gas cock back off again, and then connect your hose or your flex tube back to your heater, but don't tighten it all the way. Leave it a quarter turn loose, and then open your gas cock and let the air blow out of that tube. You want to smell gas coming out, and then shut it back off again and tighten that at the same time, or just leave that on and give it that one last quarter turn to lock it down and tighten it. And then I always use Windex. Works fine for me. Some people say, no, it's too thin, you got to use soap. No, Windex works. Just spray some Windex on your connections. If you see little bubbles forming, it is not sealed, so you want to make sure that that's sealed. Okay, now you have your gas cock open, you have no leaks at the bottom here. Come up, turn your unit to pilot, press it down, hit the igniter, and it should fire right off, and you should have a pilot light running like I do. And I'll tell you what, since I cleaned this thing out and reignited it, it is running a heck of a lot more efficient. It doesn't turn on and off as often as it was doing, and the weather, of course, hasn't changed, but it's doing its thing. So that's it. Any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Don't forget your thumbs ups down there. Don't forget to share and subscribe. Very important, subscribe. That really helps us out here. And with me, the dogs, and trying to take care of these dogs and buy what's needed for them. I've got some people that donate dog food and that stuff, but there are other things like treats and that I have to dig into my pocket for. And being retired on a fixed income, there wasn't any room for those dogs to be here, but I can't let them out in the cold winter desert to die like some idiot did. So that's about it, everybody. Thanks for joining me. This is G Bear signing.